Hello. Good afternoon. Um, all right. Let me see if I'm live. We just came back from the park, so excuse my blah look, but I'm gonna speak to you all about something that was groundbreaking for me. Definitely, I want you all to tune in, share this with someone that you love. Um, so today I want to talk about fight, flight, or freeze, and particularly how are you responding to stress? Now, freeze mode is really what I'm going to talk about because this is something that I have with through the Holy Spirit has helped me realize that I've been dealing with the last couple of years. And so we all may know what fight or flight mode means. That's a like stress reaction to stress. Or a reaction to trauma. Um, and freeze mode is actually another form of this. So, when I looked up what freeze mode was, you are basically in preparation mode mentally, right? So let's say like I want to become a millionaire or I want to do all these things or be successful, have a job, like climb the corporate ladder. All these things could be something that I have my brain is constantly thinking of, but my body is not reacting. So my body doesn't do nothing to help me get to this point. Like I feel like I'm maybe stuck, like my it's like nothing is connecting. So my mind is not connecting with my body. I'm not doing things that I'm supposed to do to get me to that point. And the reason why I want to talk about this is because I feel like it's going to help a lot of people understand that you might not just be stuck, you might actually be responding to stress in this way. And when you don't have community that can help you really clarify what you're going through, or you don't have someone you can talk to about being stuck, a lot of us have been there, right? And so on, let's see, tomorrow I will be talking to a good friend of mine about sexual assault. Now, I am a sexual assault survivor. It took me though a couple years to recognize and admit that I was like in a situation that was sexually like sexual assault. Why it took me so long to register that is because I was in freeze mode. So when the situation happened, I don't have to go in details, but when it happened, if you ever pay attention to women that has been through that, they say they froze. Now, I have told people this and they did not believe me because they thought, I would kick you somebody in the face or I'll punch them or whatever the case may be. And you could say that until you've actually been in this situation. And my response to that stress was I froze. And you could be in freeze mode for a couple of years. You could be functioning, you could be going to work every day, you could be going to church, you could be going to all these things, and you could be in freeze mode. And just because you may be part of a church doesn't mean that you're completely healed from certain situations. And so, yes, I talk about faith a lot. I talk about all these things, God this or God that. But at the end of the day, if you don't have clarification of what you're going through, you're not going to know how to pray. You're not going to know how to tell people what's going on with you. You're not going to know who to approach when it comes to these things. So let's talk about trauma real quick. Trauma is a hot topic right now, and there's a lot of people going through trauma, and they didn't know this until maybe the pandemic, and they just they turned around and they was like, there's this whole pile of crap. That's how mines went. I turned around, it was this whole pile of stuff under a rug that I just been brushing under a rug, brushing under a rug, brushing under a rug. And you look back one day and you're like, I haven't dealt with none of this stuff. I haven't dealt with the issues, the trials, the pain, the tribulation, how I feel about this, how I feel about that. And this has honestly been like a 4-year journey for me to recognize that there are some deep rooted issues that I need to face. And when you are in fight or flight mode is you always run. You're always running from the issue that put you in danger. So that could look like right now, a lot of people booking vacations and they're going places. They got the cute Instagrams, Facebook pictures and all that, but they might just be running from something that they haven't dealt with. And that's why we don't always want to follow what people are doing or feel like we need to do the same thing, because it might be a trauma response. It might be a response to stress where I'm just going to leave behind all the issues and they're just going to go away on their own. And I'm here to burst your bubble and tell you they're not just going to go away. They're not just going to go away if you don't deal with them. Now, I do think people should get counseling or therapy, whatever you call it, because you need that. You need someone to talk to. You need you might want to start with community first. You might want to start with going to like maybe a group that is a safe space. And this morning I put up this status saying that all women need a safe space, because when I was sexually assaulted, I could not tell nobody. And then the person that sexually assaulted me told everybody before me. So he painted this picture of me being the culprit of that, and I couldn't defend myself. And then I didn't have people that stepped up to the plate to cover my character. So it was just kind of like, I looked like the bad guy. He looked like he was the victim. And when you're in that situation, you don't know how to express or articulate yourself. So what do? I just let them pretty much feel how they wanted to feel. And it really hurt. At that time, it sucked. I was like, I had this pain that I just can't even like go back to right now, because it was so painful to not be able to share. And then it's like my parents, God bless them, they just kept like, are you okay? Like they couldn't understand because I wasn't really saying what happened. Like I found myself protecting who harmed me, who put me in danger. And when something happens against your will, you stay in a shell. That's how I describe it. Like you stay in a shell and you don't really know how to get out of that. You stay in it long enough, you're going to there's a number of things that you're going to do. You're going to disregard your emotions. You're going to become numb to them. You are going to maybe possibly be in fight or flight mode, and people don't understand why. And all these things could happen when you're in that shell. And my mission now, after I took the leap of faith to actually dissect all these things, go through these things, say, my life has been shaped and molded by these certain things that happen to me. I have to admit that these certain things happen to me. I can't just keep going on and acting as if like God took away everything and I'm great. And we can give our burdens to God, but at the same time, we have to do the work that's between that. So there's a lot of people in freeze mode right now, and they don't even know. They don't even know. I didn't know, so I don't expect you to know. But this is why I'm on here now to explain that, because freeze mode, like I said, you can be stuck in a preparation. Like you could be saying for years, like, I'm going to get a better job. I'm going to get a better job. I'm going to get a better job. And you never fill out an application. You never look for the type of job that you want. You never set the goals of what money you want to make on this job. You never do the actual work. You just stay in freeze mode where your brain is like, okay, this is how, it's going to be. But then your body is like shut down. And these are terminologies and terms that you're not probably going to hear on a Sunday morning. And it's not shot at any leadership. But at the same time, there needs to be more safe spaces that are intentionally done, because people are going through a lot, and they have been through a lot. And so when you have a group of people that have been through a lot come together, you can sometimes feel that pain in the room. Like you can sometimes feel the stress, the response to the stress, and you can feel, it can feel tight. It can feel tight. And sometimes this is how our homes feel when we don't deal with certain things. It can feel tight. It doesn't feel like home. It doesn't, like you might have to get rid of some stuff. You can have a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. So it feels like really tight. It feels like you are in a place you live in, but it doesn't feel home. And we got to get out of that. We have to move forward. We have to press towards the mark. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to be perseverance that has to take place. You have to persevere. It's like this work is not easy. It's not easy to always take a look at what you went through in life. It's not always, it's sometimes very, very, very hard to realize that everybody wasn't your friend. Everybody wasn't for you. But then you can look at who is for you and who are your friends and who is there to help, because God sends that too. So one of the things that I thought was groundbreaking, I follow a particular ministry, and the prophet of this ministry has been helping us to get out and walk, do like 30-minute walks, do like dance to some like obviously some music that's not all the hoopla, but like get up and move your body. And so with doing the research in this freeze mode, one of the symptom or one of the activities that you could do to combat the symptoms is go walk, exercise, dance. And I was like, wow, this is it. Like, and so this morning, just this morning, I did a different routine. So usually I try to get up and work. And that's a process in itself. Like, I'm still trying to unlearn how to be in the regular job market and just be like the entrepreneur. And so that's a whole process in itself, that you could be in freeze mode. But this morning I didn't do nothing, right? I was like, we're going to the park. I'm going to go on the playground and I'm going to play like with my son. I'm not just going to watch him. I'm going to go down the slide. I'm going to walk on the little thing that rocks or whatever. I'm going to do things like as I'm a child. And I didn't grow up with issues, or I didn't have these things. And boy, was that groundbreaking. Like, I want to do this every day. Because what it did, it moved things around and let me release stuff. It let me, that tension in my body was like, I was doing something about it. I wasn't just sitting and answering emails. And I'm not saying don't go to work, but find a routine where you can fit being a child and having a childlike activity. Find a routine that you can fit that in. because what we do is we go through these things as a child, then we grow up as an adult, and we don't do nothing about, like, we adults. So adult is, we worry about our bills, we worry, and that is our response to stress. And so we're stressed out, we're worried, we're not moving our body, we're not exercising, we're not eating healthy, we're not clearing our minds with 30-minute walks. We're not doing none of this because who told us we have to be like this? Most of the time, we are our own enemy. And so when you look at freeze mode, they said it's like so deep in your brain that you, like, it just cuts on, and it's like you have to do the work in order to find that you're in freeze mode. It's not just an obvious thing like fight or flight mode. Like, this is like deep within your brain, to where anytime you feel danger with a certain situation, your whole body shuts down. So that even happened with me and art. You know, I'm a painter. I've been doing this since I was a little girl. I have pictures to show it. But when I did the Black Lives Matter mural, that was trauma. I was getting death threats. I was getting people, saying stuff. What do you need? I was getting people saying stuff to me. I was getting, hate. And the people that I thought was going to show up didn't. They kind of like badmouthed me during this process. They were like, I don't know if you want to do that, or like they wasn't really supportive. I'll put it like that. And this is a pattern that I looked at in my life, where the people that were supposed to show up and support me, they always left me hanging. And that started with my dad. Like, that really started with my dad and his addiction. And when you get used to that, it's not healthy. It's actually an unhealthy practice, because you not only get used to it, but you get used to putting yourself around these kinds of people. Like, people you can't lean on, people you can't rely on, but you're just wishing, you're wanting, you're hoping for them to show up for you. And it's like, they never do. So then what do you do afterwards? What you do afterwards is you have to do the work. You have to like decipher, okay, what's really going on here? Do I want to continue this pattern, or do I want to go on and actually put some muscle into this and figure out what is wrong? So that's the choice that I chose. I chose to figure out what was wrong. And boy, am I figuring out what was wrong, because it's not easy to look yourself in the mirror and be like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of stuff. But I knew that I was getting away from that childlike optimism of life. And I just don't, that's not me. That never was me. But when you have these life be lifing, is what they say, you can get out of, finding things to release the stress. And instead of holding on to that stress, you have to let that stress go. Like, you have to respond to it in a way where you are going to dance. You're going to take those walks. You're going to really get in the mode of moving with a purpose. Not just, okay, I'm going to book a flight. It's like, okay, book the flight, plan the vacation, but make it purposeful. Really like take that trip to pray. Really take that trip to get closer with God. Really take that trip so that you're not just taking a trip to run, but you're taking a trip to really like progress towards the mark. So I just wanted to get on and talk about that, because we have a lot of people living in this mode, and they don't necessarily know what is wrong, what's going on, but there is something that you could do about it. You don't have to stay here forever. You don't have to be a person that stays in that quicksand. You can do something about it. Um, and I am going to be talking about this more because it's needed, and especially within these women circles. uh, I have trauma in itself from being around women in general. Um, you see how I just froze? Like, being around women in general, um, a pattern that always has happened with me and women, especially when it comes to befriending or having friends. And thank God right now I have people that are women that I can talk to and not be judged or not be in competition with. But there was a period in my life where I couldn't find that nowhere. Like, I would be attending these churches, and it's like the women would look like they didn't want you to be there. I know. I had a situation, I had a situation where I was at this event, and this these two ladies, they came, and I asked, did can I sit next to them, and they said no, and I'm like, okay, but it was the way they said no, and in the environment that we were in, we're all supposed to be loving on each other. We're supposed to be building each other up, and it was a damper. So when you're around that consistently, you start to be the damper in your own life. You're like, this is just how it is, nobody's ever gonna like me. Nobody, it's not that. It's just these certain environments, the people in them have not dealt with their stuff. But I want you to stay encouraged, get out, move, do something. I was at the park and ended up getting like 4,000 steps. Then I took my son to get something to eat, and we just was doing something. Hey Taylor. She said, I am definitely a definitely a freezer. Shout out to Taylor. She has a coffee company that she has been expeditiously working on, and I'm so happy for her. But yeah, most women, they're going through this, but they just don't know. And if you are a person that has been through any type of sexual assault, definitely get counseling if you need it. I mean, I'm not going to say like you don't need it. I just, I don't want to put it on somebody if they're not ready to get counseling for that particular thing, because that is a lot to go through. And sometimes you're not ready to talk. Sometimes you're not ready to talk, but I do encourage you to like journal your thoughts out. If you're not ready to talk to a person, maybe journal them out, and then you can take that journal to a therapist, someone that can help you, and they could kind of help you clarify what you wrote out. You always need people to help you get through. That is a lie from the enemy if you think you can isolate yourself and not get help and you're gonna be healed. That's a lie. It's always going to be at least one person that God's gonna send to help you get through. And that person may be a therapist, a psychologist, a counselor at your church. I don't really recommend going to someone that you know. You might want to go to someone that doesn't know you from Adam, so you can really just lay it out and be like, look, this is what I'm going through. Can you please help me on this? Because sometimes when people know you, it's hard for you to say what is really going on because they don't take it as serious sometimes. I know there's a lot of times where I've had to not share what was wrong with me because I know or I could tell the person really didn't care. Like, and sometimes, we get around people and we get too familiar with them, and we don't think nothing goes on with them. We don't think they go through rough times, especially if you're someone that like executes and finishes, and you're deemed like you're on that path of success, and you have succeeded with a lot of things. But sometimes when you're like that, people don't think you need a phone call, or they don't think you need to be invited out. Like, you only want to be invited out to always work, or you only want to be invited out to always do the type of work that you do. But like my friend was telling me tonight or last night, she was saying like, and she's in this field, so I she's a trustworthy person. But she told me like what I do turned into work, and with that turning into work, it felt like my gifts betrayed me because it was never supposed to be work. It was always supposed to be done in love and not like work, because sometimes we can have a job that we don't love, but we'll work it, but we don't love it. And, you have to be careful with that too. But, yeah, it turned into work, and I really despised doing that for a while because it's always work. It's not fun. It became not fun. So stay encouraged if you're a male or a female. But I wanted to share that because that was very groundbreaking, and I know that someone else is going to hear this, see this, come across this, and it's only for that one person that has been struggling but can't really pinpoint what exactly you're struggling with. I could give you, as not a counselor but just someone that is experiencing this, write down all the things that like, you got to ask yourself this question first. What situations, how do I put this? What situations in my life has stopped me in my tracks when it came to an end? Like, what relationship did I go through that really hurt me? What assault did I go through that really took a while for me to get over? What you might have got an abortion, you might have had a miscarriage, you might have got a divorce, you might have a job fired you, you might have had these things happen to you. And I want you to write down all of those things, right? Then I want you to take a look at, have you really moved on? That sounds like an easy question, but I'm telling y'all, you probably didn't. You probably didn't, because I want you to pay attention to how you feel when you read what that was, or when you read through the list. Is a certain emotion rising? Is like this gut feeling like, ugh? Is this like any emotion arising when you go through that list? And if there is, Legend, are you upstairs? Oh. If there is an emotion that rises up, you need to deal with that. Not right now, but you can go off of that as a way to maybe get into therapy, maybe get into counseling. And like I said, take that list with you to say, like, these are all the things, especially if you're a control person. Like, you might still be trying to control how you deal with things, but when you're in God, everything's out of your control. You might, he's gonna tell you when you're gonna go through it and when you're gonna deal with it. Especially if you call yourself trying to be something, be somebody, he's gonna tell you. He's gonna be like, you gonna deal with this, get over here. Because you're not going any further until you deal with this. So tune in tomorrow to the No or Never podcast. We are gonna have Angela D. Wharton on talking about so much. She is a sexual assault survivor and advocate, and she is based in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And so, if you still have not watched my last podcast about generations, did you have fun at the park? If you have not watched the last episode, I encourage you to watch that. It's about generations, and I just said, starting my podcast up again, we're gonna get to the root of stuff. And boy, we are like, I'm not coming on the podcast as like just a host and I'm perfect. Some of this stuff I'm going through too. Like it's exciting though, because you shame the devil when you have testimony. And my testimony is that God is helping me get through these things so that I can be a better person, number one, better friend, better romantic lover, better mom, better daughter, better everything. And so tune in tomorrow. Go on my YouTube channel. It is Krista Nicole Mann, and we're going to be talking about this tough topic that a lot of women have went through, and they just don't have that safe space to share. And if you ever have went through anything like that, of what I named, like the sexual assault, abortion, miscarriage, divorce, childhood trauma, addiction, I mean, your girl can pretty much talk to you about all of it, not in a professional way, but if you need a friend to talk about that. And I can definitely direct you to some good people that are professional with that. And so, yeah, tune in tomorrow at 6 or 7 p.m. and we are going to have a good time. So talk to you later. Have a good day. Get out to the park. Go walk your neighborhood. Go do everything before, if you're in the north like me, before the snow comes. If you're in the south, y'all probably can stretch yours out till December. But get out, start moving your body, release that stress, start eating well, drink your water. I need to drink mine today. But have a good day. Bye.